Come in.
Namaskar, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Bet here.
Thank you, sir.
Tarun.
Sir.
Okay, you have taken your vaccine, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
So you can remove your mask.
Thank you, sir.
Comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Introduce yourself to the board members.
Sir, I'm Tarun and I come from small town Hasanpur in Haryana. And 2006 we got shifted to Faridabad, and I did my schooling there. And then I went to Shriram College of Commerce. I am a commerce graduate. I did chartered accountancy till IPCC. Currently, I'm an IRPS officer in Ministry of Railways. And my hobbies include that I like to talk to people and give presentations. And
So your probation is completed now?
yes, sir.
So where you have taken charge? Firozpur.
In Firozpur division.
Okay. Are you enjoying your job?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Why do you want to change it now?
Sir, I think, sir, if I change it, then, sir, more varieties would be there. And I think, sir, it would be a lifelong happiness and satisfaction to work on the ground floor in areas like health, education, and infrastructure, and also agriculture and water. So I think, sir, it would be definitely be growing my personality and also would give me satisfaction.
So how this National Asset Monitoring Program would be helping you realize your dreams as an administrator?
So very much, because what we think is that in national monetization pipeline, we have planned for 6 trillion worth of monetization of the core assets in multiple infrastructure sectors. And it would be giving us money for the capital expenditure of national infrastructure pipeline, which is more than 111 trillion rupees. So I think it would be a game changer, and it would give an opportunity for officers like us to learn from it. And much more private.
What are the inherent threats and dangers in the process of asset monetization? Because there is a nexus between some officers and the local businessmen.
Sir, what we think is that for a better monetization program, it is important that we have sectoral regulators, because regulatory mechanism need to be strong. Secondly, sir, the concession process, the concession agreement that we sign, it needs to be proper, and because it needs to have safeguard clauses of what happens if the party backs out. Thirdly, definitely the contract enforcement mechanism need to be better, because on ease of doing business, contract enforcement, our parameter is a bit weaker. So these things, and then fourthly, the capacity building within the ministries, for example, railways and ports and airways. So we need capacity building within to tap that value. And fifthly, our accounting process and our financial process, because for example in railways also we follow cash-based system of accounting, while we need accrual system of accounting so that we can have better valuation of the assets, so that they are not being given at a very low.
There are already certain allegations of collusion between the auctioneers, some auctioneers, and some railway officers who are responsible to monitor that auction in pricing, in rejection of other applications on the ground of non-fulfillment of certain conditions. So the procedure is not fair and transparent. There are certain complaints.
So I think that's why we need an independent regulator, as it's been repeated.
Has the Ministry of Railway created such a regulatory body?
So not yet. It has been recommended.
But railway land is already getting auctioned under this scheme.
Sir, yes, we have Railway Land Development Authority. However, sir, under National Monetization Pipeline, we have included the core assets of the railways. It won't include land, which is separately done, and it also won't include disinvestments of other ministries.
Okay. Tarun, you are working as a personnel officer, assistant personnel officer. So naturally, one of the job of personnel officers is to guard the interest of the workers.
Yes, sir.
And social security is one of the core concerns of workers. What is the status of social security of workers in railways in particular, but in India generally for all the workers?
Sir, we definitely have good enough laws for social security. We have provident fund, we have employees compensation mechanism if someone gets injured. We have liberal maternity benefit schemes. In fact, sir, I'm very happy to mention that Railways is one of the few organizations which used to offer 180 days of leave much before the act was amended for maternity benefit in 2017. However, sir, there are some concerns in railways, particularly one is medical benefits and medical services. The matter is being routinely raised in the PNM meetings of the unions that And also, as per our laws of railways, we have not covered the parents.
And of course, it's a controversial issue of pension.
Yes, sir, very much so.
What is the present policy of pension in railway?
So we have all those who are coming after 1st of January 2004, they would be governed with new pension system. So the difference is that earlier old pension scheme was there along with provident fund. So my contribution would go for provident fund, and government would at the end of the superannuation would give the pension. That would be half of the last basic pay. But now, so the difference is that we don't contribute any longer to PF. We give our deduction to pension fund. Government contributes equal sum. And then at the end of the day, based upon market mechanism, I'll be getting some returns.
So why workers in many states are asking for revival of old pension scheme rather than the new one?
Sir, because of the certainty. As sir, in financial theories, we say that uncertainty itself reduces your return. And sir, in old pension scheme, half of the basic pay was certainly guaranteed. But now people are uncertain that what will happen at the end of the day. So there is a lot more uncertainty, because if I have 100 rupees of the corpus at the end of the day, then I get 60% is maximum as lump sum. Then remaining 40%, maximum 8% is I get as an interest amount.
Okay, Tarun. Nice. Thank you.
Tarun.
Ma'am.
So coming from railways, can you compare the expansion of railways before independence and after independence?
Ma'am, before independence, on the day of we got independent, we had around 60,000 of route kilometers length, and currently we have 67,000 of route kilometers. So looking that way, it does not seems to be very much impressive. However, I would love to mention, ma'am, that we are doing doubling of the railway lines, and a lot more refurbishing and modernization has happened. So old lines at the time of independence, most of it has been replaced now, and also doubling. So if I count that, we have 121,000 kilometers of network now, which is the 4th largest in the world, ma'am. However, ma'am, definitely there are concerns that we could not cope up with the demand. It is a very proud thing that we do travel, 8 billion passengers do travel, and it is the cheapest passenger network across the world. However, we need high-speed railways and dedicated freight corridors and such like, ma'am.
Okay. So as a person of commerce and also working in railways, what is the operational cost of railways?
Ma'am, we have operational ratio is 97. It is always above 97, around 97 to 98.
And like, is it profitable? Is it a loss-making entity? Tell me something about it.
Ma'am, we are profitable. Railways is profitable because we do give dividends to the government of India, around 6 to 7,000 crore per annum. However, ma'am, the basic deficiency is the accounting system, because we do not have commercial mechanism, so we are not sure what is exactly the profit. So for that matter, our valuation of the asset is not up to date, because we do follow government-based accounting. And apart from that, ma'am, we are meeting our revenue expenditures on our own. However, for capital expenditure, we are totally dependent on a budgetary resource and extra budgetary resource, ma'am.
Okay. So why not to commercialize it? So a government can always impose terms and conditions at their own will. So why not to have that they have to give subsidized ticket to the EWS or the people who need ticketing at a affordable cost? Why not to commercialize the rest of the operations?
Ma'am, we have commercialized it, but the issue is, ma'am, that for example, social service cost, we call it social service cost, giving it cheap tickets and such like. The cost estimated by railways is more than 50,000 crore. So if we can get it from the state government or the central government who do want to subsidize the passenger fare, then railways would be much more profitable. However, ma'am, as regarding our freight is concerned, we are already charging whatever maximum we can charge, because there is cross subsidization of passenger segment. And ma'am, but I think it is also imperative that we do not think railways merely from this profit thing, because railways as a mode of transportation itself enables a lot of growth and development for passengers particularly. For example, I would like to mention, ma'am, that we have our suburban network. We carry 56% of passengers on suburban network. It just contributes 5% to our revenue, and all passenger segment is in loss except for third AC. So definitely, ma'am, we can do much more, particularly non-fare revenue and areas like these, ma'am.
Okay. So coming to digital currency, what are the various issues and challenges that you think are associated with digital currency?
Ma'am, central bank digital currency.
Yes, central bank digital currency.
Ma'am, there are many challenges which can be there. Ma'am, first challenge is that what model we would follow. One is the retail digital currency, one is the wholesale. If RBI follows retail model, then as customers we can directly open the account with the RBI. But ma'am, then what would happen to the intermediation role of the banking network? That is a bit of worry, ma'am. And secondly is the privacy issues. As after Puttaswamy judgment, it's a fundamental right. So what would happen to that if RBI is able to track each and every transaction? And ma'am, thirdly, there is also concerns of cyber frauds and cyber issues, because if a lot more systems happens through this digital currency, then what will happen to that? So these are the concerns I can think of.
Okay. Tell me, what is cooperative cooking?
Ma'am, it is about cooking together in groups.
In groups?
Yes, ma'am.
Like, where do we do it?
Ma'am, with friends. So ma'am, we have neighbors, and I got posted in Firozpur, ma'am. It is sort of lonely kind of a place. When 3-4 officers we were there, so we started cooking together. And ma'am, in training we used to do it a lot. So for example, ma'am, I'm not proficient in cooking, but I can do some steps, so they can do certain steps. So it's like that, ma'am. And I do it at home as well with my mother.
Okay, thank you.
Tarun,
Sir.
Sri Lanka is facing an economic crisis, and India is also helping out Sri Lanka. But at the same time, India is getting a lot of negative press in Sri Lanka. It seems that India is helping from one hand, and from the other hand, India is forcing the Sri Lankan government to agree to some of the long pending infra projects. So what is your opinion on that?
So sorry, sir, Sri Lanka issue I have not yet prepared in depth.
Fine. But do you think it is right for India to impose such kind of conditions for helping Sri Lanka?
I would say, sir, that definitely as a country we do promote our national interest. However, it would also be prudent for our regional concerns as well, and also because of the nature of our, because there are a lot of sensitivities involved with Tamil Nadu region and Tamil speaking population and population living in Jaffna. So it would be prudent not to put much harsh conditions, especially in these kind of conditions.
Okay, like similarly what we have seen that India's stand on the Ukraine crisis has also come in for a lot of criticism, and that India is not saying anything about the Russian aggression. So what do you think, like, is it right on India's part, or should I phrase it like, is it morally right on India's part to abstain from votes which are clearly criticizing Russia?
Sir, I think, sir, in the international arena, it is totally moral on the part of India to protect its own national interest. And India has not taken any side. Even we have not said that what Russia is doing is prudent or good. We have categorically rejected that and categorically stated that territorial integrity and sovereignty is the key, and we have to respect the UN Charter and international law. And also it has been, for example, we are not helping Russia in that sense. And for example, Europe is still importing gas. And
if this is not helping Russia, then what would be helping Russia? Should India join the Russian forces?
No, sir.
So like, I think this is as far as India can help by not voting against Russia, when clearly Russia is in the wrong.
Sir, India has as I said, India has very categorically said that we think that legitimate security interests of all the parties need to be balanced. And in that
way, but does it give right to Russia to attack a sovereign country because it is feeling threatened?
Sir, any country today, it is not the right of the country to violate somebody's territorial integrity.
But Russia has done that.
Yes, sir, that's why there are sanctions being put on Russia.
But India is not saying it, no? So don't you find there is contradiction between what you are saying is the right thing to do and what India is doing?
Sir, I do not think so, because sir, as we see in Europe also, as I said, they are still importing gas and oil. So every country is supposed to maintain its national interest, which is our prime concern.
Okay, you come from Haryana, and the Haryana government has been saying that we'll reserve jobs for locals. How do you see that? Do you agree with what the Haryana government is doing?
Sir, I think that it is, as the government has reserved it for the locals in the private sector, 75% of the jobs. It is still, it would go in Supreme Court as well. I think it has already gone. And I think, sir, legitimately so. I think, sir, that for example, Article 16 is a vote of equality of opportunity in the matters of public employment, and no one can be discriminated against on the basis of descent or residence. And it says that only the parliament can make a law if the descent has to be a criteria in certain category of post.
So do you think that the people of Haryana government must not have gone through the constitution, and now they will be enlightened about the constitution? They must have read it.
Sir, as we say that it's not always about the economics, but at times it's also about political economy.
So it's more about the optics, that maybe it is being done for political reasons?
Sir, as being in a democracy, some politics is definitely involved, and there is no illegitimacy about it, and we have rule of law, so the parties would take it to the court of law.
But individually, do you support such a decision, or you feel that it is not right?
I do not, sir, because for one more reason as well, because talent management, if we see as India as a whole, so the states which have the demographic surplus, so they would definitely meet the demand of demographic deficit states. And also, as we say, theory of comparative advantages, it works within states as well. So talent should go where it is demanded.
Okay. My final question to you, Tarun, you are in Indian Railways. So recently in Parliament, there was a debate about whether the Indian soil is fit for running of bullet trains. So what is your opinion on that? And technical opinion I would want.
So not only feasible, it is desirable, and we are already late, I would say. So sir,
so no problem with the Indian soil?
Not at all, sir. Definitely
no
not.
Reinforcement is needed?
Sir, soil reinforcement would be there for technical reasons, but for example, we need to construct viaducts, and also a lot of tunnels would be there. So technical specification, definitely, sir.
But not a problem?
Yes, sir, it's not a problem.
Okay. So
Tarun, how are you feeling?
I'm good, sir.
You had the conversation with the sir that residence cannot be the criteria under Article 16. Are you sure about that?
So it can be, but it says that Parliament can make a law putting residence as a criteria.
Let's talk something about, you also talked about cooperative cooking, I believe. That is one area of my interest as well. Let's talk about cooperative federalism.
Yes, sir.
All right. These days, we may not see that cooperative federalism is very common these days. States have their own regional parties are in power these days, and the rise of regional parties are very much common. They are acquiring national spaces. My question to you is that many a times we may see that some of the good schemes of the government, that to a central government scheme, may not be implemented just for the political reasons. So how can a bureaucrat function with respect to implementation of those values, because you are aspiring for all India services by and large? So what can be the role of a bureaucrat by and large, please?
Sir, a bureaucrat should always be guided by the national interest, and as our constitution puts an obligation by Article 51A on each citizen that we will rise our regional or sectional or those kind of parochial interest. So our thinking and our action should be guided with national interest, and all policies, be it of the state or the center, I think it should be thoroughly debated. And at the end of the day, it is the democracy.
So how will you convince your chief minister in this regard? If she's very adamant, or if he's very adamant in this regard that that particular law will not be implemented because that may undermine my political interest, how will you convince her? How will you try to convince her?
Sir, I think that as going forward in India also, it is about the development politics, and people do need welfare, and we need to fulfill our national aspirations. And when it would benefit people on objective criteria, it would definitely be good politics as well. As Dr. Kalam once said, that good governance would be good politics.
That is fine, fair enough. That governance is one of the key aspects. But what about the administration of justice these days? Indian judiciary per se is working on the principle of justice hurried is justice worried. Instead, it should be justice late is justice denied. What about the judicial reform that is required to be taken that as a part of policy matter? Could you please?
Sir, high courts and supreme courts are often in limelight, but we need a lot of reforms in lower judiciary as well at district level. And Honorable CJI has repeatedly told about this, that a lot of infrastructure reinforcement is needed. We need artificial intelligence tools, decision support systems, video conferencing facilities, and HR, human resource, because we need good lawyers who would not only work for corporate litigation, as Honorable CJI said, but also at the grassroots level. I think these things would be needed. And I think, sir, that what we should do is that what would be the impact assessment of the law being framed, so that it does not promote litigation. And when at the lawmaking stage, there would be wider consultations. I think so litigation can come down with.
Very good. Have you heard this court called National Court of Appeal?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Sir, it says that currently what is happening is that Supreme Court is looking after constitutional matters as well as the regular appeals, be it civil or the criminal matters. So it is an idea that why do not we create 4 benches of the Supreme Court, as Article 131 itself says that Supreme Court can sit at other places as well.
Article 131 or Article 130?
Oh, 131 to what I remember.
Okay.
And then what will happen is that for regional court, that would be the highest court of appeal. So they would act as national court of appeal, and only constitutional matters would go to the Honorable Supreme Court.
One last question that have prompted me. We were actually analyzing your DAF per se. You have opted for Indian Account Services. You are already IRPS. What is the reason? I mean, this is one question that was in my mind. Why you want to shift to this particular service per se?
So two things are there. One is it's my expertise, commerce and accountancy, and which is fairly utilized in railways also. Second reason is, as a good administrator, I've tried to maximize my strategic choices. So later
you
on,
are not satisfied with your current job?
I am satisfied, sir. Definitely.
You are satisfied, and still you have chosen to apply for the other services?
Yes, sir.
Don't you think this is actually a paradox statement?
I don't think so, sir. Because if I won't be satisfied in the current job, I won't be doing it. And secondly, sir,
that is fine, but that actually resembles a power-hungry attitude of a bureaucrat. That is to be taken in the context of uprightness, because the government is spending money on your training right now.
Definitely, sir.
So much money has been spent on your training.
Yes, sir.
So how will you justify that particular money?
Sir, the state's interest is that the composite talent of a particular bureaucrat or any person, any citizen of India, it can be utilized at other places. So whatever expenditure has gone in my training, it has definitely evolved my skills.
That may also prompt a suggestion that you might also, for the future expertise, you may leave this particular job. Suppose you are selected to IAS, the government will again spend money on your training and things like that. Then again you will likely to shift from that particular point. That particular thing may not be taken up rightly. So what is your stand in this regard?
Sir, too, as regarding sir earlier question, that power hungry attitude, so I think having power is not bad per se. How we utilize power matters, and if we think we can utilize in good manner, having more power is no bad. And secondly, sir, I think that other areas of fields of work or occupation are equally honorable. So if an IAS officer leaves for politics or for business, it is equally honorable and it equally contributes to national economy, sir.
That's good. Thank you for my side.
Tarun,
Ma'am.
have you heard about the last ice area?
No, ma'am.
Are you aware that Arctic ice is shrinking very rapidly?
Yes, ma'am.
In that context, I had asked the last ice area. Even the last ice area remaining in Greenland is shrinking now.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think the future for us is from this point onwards as a human species and in context of geopolitics also?
Ma'am, as regarding human species, I'm optimistic, because as world is being galvanized with the scientific assessment and reports, and I think world is moving now faster to renewable energy, to net zero goals, and I'm hopeful that we'll make it. And secondly, as regarding geopolitics, ma'am, there would be a lot of churning and shift. One would be energy politics, because as for example, those countries who are largest exporters of fossils, they are also diversifying their economies. And secondly, ma'am, it would be a lot of ramifications for international trade and shipping routes. For example, we are already seeing opening up of the Arctic's route and Arctic Silk Road, as we say. So these things are there. And thirdly, ma'am, what I see as a very good change, for example, a country like India, we have 135 crore plus people. And if we can meet our own energy demand and can be Atmanirbhar in that, self-sustainable. So
and you see no issue with respect to environment, that last piece of ice on a planet is shrinking at such a rapid pace?
Ma'am, it's definitely very concerning. However,
but you didn't bring that into context while speaking. You were all positive about this fact.
Ma'am, I'm positive because I am sure that these worrying things that we are having, it would promote more and more efforts to adaptation, mitigation, and these kind of initiatives. It is good that these kind of news are coming up, because if we won't open our eyes to the reality, how we would spring into action. So in that context, I said.
Do you think we have made enough strides towards addressing these concerns in environment? Even IPCC reports is worried about.
Yes, ma'am.
The changes which are happening at a pace which we had expected. It's on a more rapid pace than what we had initially thought.
Ma'am, definitely, as the Glasgow summit has shown us, that we definitely need much more. One is the adaptation, because all finance is currently going to mitigation. And secondly, ma'am,
this is all talks. Do you think we are on road, or should we need to worry from here?
Ma'am, definitely good actions are being there. For example, India, we have already achieved our target of 150 gigawatt of renewable energy, ma'am. And we are already ahead of the targets, not 2022, but vis-a-vis 2030. And secondly, ma'am, European countries, as we have recently seen with oil and gas imports from Russia, now there are talks that why not 100% renewable energy. And thirdly, ma'am, there are a lot more research in hydrogen fuel. So India has also announced hydrogen mission.
Have you heard of right to repair movement?
Ma'am, I haven't, but I think it can be in the context of circular economy.
Yeah, it is in the context of circular economy. What is it? Can you guess?
Ma'am, circular economy.
In respect to it, what exactly is right to repair?
Ma'am, I think it should be that because currently the model of economy is use and throw. So it would be after consumption, it has to be necessarily used to be repaired, refurbished, or reused. So it come back to the circular motion.
And have you heard of planned obsolescence?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, currently it's a very big default of the consumerism that definitely the shelf life, the product life is itself very short. So product life cycle is.
Do you think this right to repair movement or the circular economy sits at odd with this planned obsolescence or the capitalist mode of economy?
Ma'am, no, because in capitalism also, market also behaves on the basis of sentiments. So now there is a lot more awareness in the customers as well that we would buy green products, and there is a shift to green economy. So those companies who do not
But
adapt.
Here we are talking of recycling and repairing. Like we need to lessen our demands. And capitalism is all about demand and supply. So if we lessen the demand, the supply would be affected. Don't you think it at odds?
Ma'am, no, because ma'am, the companies, for example, right now a lot of cost is because of recovery of material and procuring material, and ma'am, there are very large global value chains. So if locally whosoever is our consumer market, if I can take all the used product and can recycle it, for example, a lot of clothing companies have started doing it, ma'am. So it is in fact reducing their cost and also making them climate friendly, which is a good branding strategy.
Okay, my last question to you. You had written about life issues, you blog about life issues. Give me your take on suicide in India.
Ma'am, it's a very worrying thing, and suicides, particularly, it is very unfortunate that the progressive states and the states which have higher state GDP ratio, their suicides is increasing, and then it is also concentrated, seems to be concentrated in few segments of society.
Which segment of society is most probabilistic area, which is attempting suicide, or the suicide rates are higher?
Ma'am, one is landless laborers, second is farmers.
The highest is?
Ma'am, I'm not sure about it. I have not seen NCRB data.
Okay, thank you.
Tarun, has there been any direct impact of the monetary policy on the operations of railways?
Sir, one area definitely is there, rather two. One is that we are following accommodative policy, RBI, and RBI is increasing the liquidity infusion in economy, and railways is eyeing for a lot more investments through private parties. So that is one thing, that money is not a problem with private parties when it comes to investment. There are other factors at play. And secondly, sir, as railways also takes a lot more borrowing through Indian Railways Finance Company, that is extra budgetary resource component. So that is also, sir, the cost of that has come down because liquidity is huge in economy.
So if this cost has come down, are you passing this cost benefit to the consumers and passengers?
Sir, the IRFC, what they do is that they have leasing arrangement. So whatever they do borrow, they take rolling stocks, and then it is being given on lease to the railways. And it is a lot more involved in the capital expenditure, whose fruits would be clear down the line, sir. So I'm not sure it would be immediately passed on.
Do you have in your mind the immediate assessment of the value of ICOR of the railways?
Sir, I'm not sure about it. Because, sir, 1 rupee invested in railways definitely gives economy the benefit of multiples. Multiplier is, I think, 4 or around 4. Because 1 rupee invested in railways would definitely give a lot more higher returns to economy. In that sense, I can say so.
You're staying in Firozpur. Who founded Firozpur?
Firoz Shah Tughlaq.
Which year?
Sir, I'm not sure.
Why? What was the immediate objective?
Sir, I'm not sure about it, but I can think.
Which national highway passes through Firozpur?
Sorry, sir. Should have been known.
Highways is the immediate competitor for your railway transport.
I should have known this, sir. Sorry for it.
Okay. Nice talking to you, Tarun. Your interview is over. You may go now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Come, have your seat. So, Tarun, you are already in the job. How much score you got last year?
Sir, 2017 and 18 I gave, it was 173.
173.
Yes, sir.
You have appeared only once in earlier interview? Twice?
Twice, yes.
Second score?
Sir, 173. Same vote, same marks. Air Marshal, sir, vote.
Do you find that that was justified score?
I think it could have been better. At 190 plus, I was expecting.
You're expecting more?
Yes, sir.
Could you analyze why they have discounted 20 marks?
I think, yes, sir. One was, sir, in 2017 DEF, there were certain little things. I was straight out of college, and but not much I could, sir.
In our observation, most of the issues you are prepared. That means, and you are articulating your points well. So there is no big correction suggested from our side. But of course, there is certain things which we have seen. One thing is that, are you planning to wear the same dress?
No, sir, this is not. But the attire, the pattern would be same.
Half jacket would be there.
Yes, sir. But not this one.
You have been wearing this kind of dress in earlier attempts as well?
No, sir. Earlier I used to wear that full suit. But I'm wearing this for last 2 years.
Okay. Second thing is that I think you could appreciate that after watching your video only, from this end, it didn't appear very pleasant because when you smiled a little broader than required.
Yes, sir.
So, but I'm not suggesting that just to be very conscious about it. Watch your video carefully.
Yes, sir.
Try to find out it could be more sober smile.
Yes, sir.
If possible, if you are natural with it, comfortable with it.
Yes, sir.
I think that will be better.
Yes, sir.
And one question you said that you are yet not prepared. So this is, I hope, only for mock interview answer.
Yes, sir. This Sri Lanka issue, it's in my list, but I couldn't prepare it, sir.
Okay, so in the real interview, you can't say this way that I'm not yet prepared. Rather, you can frame the answer differently.
Yes, sir.
That I'm not aware of it.
Yes,
sorry, sir, kind of things.
So,
and it was also noticed that when you pronounce sorry, it should be also be accompanied with a kind of facial expression.
yes, sir.
So that again, you have just to watch it in the video itself.
Yes, sir.
And it was not in sync with the facial expression you were displaying.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these were the 3-4 points we could identify to suggest for value addition and improvement. Other things are good. That means things are well placed. On different areas, you are well prepared, whether it is economy or accounts or your job, railways, and many of the current affair issues. Maybe on constitutional article, you were not aware about the exact number of article. That is Article 130, which mentions the seat of Supreme Court.
Yes, sir.
Can be anywhere.
Yes, sir.
Along with Delhi, of course.
Yes, sir.
If let's say there is any doubt about factual information, though in the constitutional the important article, it should be minimized, but if there is still some doubt, first say it. That's I'm not very sure.
Yes, sir.
But hopefully it is Article 30, 130, 131, whatever you want to say.
Yes, sir.
But let it be known to them that you are not sure about it.
Yes, sir.
Just for the sake of transparency. And you know that your CA, so transparency is very important in accounting and auditing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Other things are perfectly in place. We are happy about your performance and we hope that this year you should be doing better.
Thank you, sir. I'll work upon it, sir.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.